Hello my delectable little nutter butters. Before the video starts, I wanted to say a big thank you for getting not only to 100 subs, but 150 as of the making of this video. But that being said, I'm still improving when it comes to video production and editing, so any tips or anything helpful would help more than you'd think, even if it's something small. Drop a comment. That being said, hope you enjoy. Please subscribe. I was eternally scrolling through YouTube looking for the perfect video to watch whilst eating my 1 kilo of plain spaghetti, when I stumbled across an old video made by a pretty small creator. And after watching that video, the first words to come out of my mouth was, "Hold my monster ultra." So I went to ChatGPT and asked it to make me a build with the single worst items in every slot to make the worst melee build possible. And after reading and contemplating if this dreadful build should ever see the light of YouTube's algorithm, I came to the epiphany that since Radagon, a ginger, was sharing a body with Merica, basically God, that by extension makes God a ginger. This mistake must be fixed. So let's just go into the video, shall we? We're going with the Wretch class for this build, as per usual, and we're gonna name him the one and only DJ Trump. The D stands for Donald, after my favourite Disney character. And after modelling what I think Donald Trump would look like, I awoke to the magical world of Elden Ring before immediately getting gut checked by the Grafted Scion. But I'm coming back for him later. And after listening to some elevator music, I talked to White Mask Vare, who proceeded to rub in my recent breakup with my girlfriend.
Fortunately for you, however, you are maidenless.
So I made my way over to Santa Claus and proceeded to get the only weapon I will be using for this entire run, the torch. And its damage is okay at the beginning, I think, but it's not. It's really not that good. I'm pretty sure that a toothpick would probably deal more damage. I then stumbled across Melina, who proceeded to offer me an accord.
I offer you an accord.
Using my new Honda Accord, I decided to go to the Third Church of Marika, not only to get the bonfire for later convenience, but also to get the golden tear. After I got mauled by Winnie the Pooh when he doesn't get his honey, I found a mysterious stone that, when I touched it, made me wake up in France. I mean Caelid. And once I was in Caelid, I decided to get the right side of the Dexys medallion, because in like every single Elden Ring video I have ever made, I have forgotten to get both sides of the Dexys medallion before I needed them. And I have had to go across the entire map just to collect them, which usually takes like 20 minutes. Which I know I've only made 3 videos on Elden Ring. You should watch them, by the way. But like, it's kind of crazy that it happened 3 times still. But moving on, I somehow managed to make a pact with the Knight's Cavalry boss and ended up dying at the same time as him, but that doesn't really matter because I got the runes anyway. Which the 42,000 runes got me to level 26, so I decided to ask Santa Claus about the howling in the woods. And after killing the rune bear with a swift whack on the ass and it dying slowly, I snapped my fingers at Blade and he came down just like the dog he is.
Who goes there?
I then summoned Blade to kill the Bloodhound Knight, which is just a bunch of easy runes, since he basically just kills him for you, you barely have to do anything. So if you got worried about me using the Bloodhound's Fang, don't, it's far too powerful for the worst build in Elden Ring. And after attempting to and failing to rizz up Ranni, probably because I'm orange, racist bitch, I somehow managed to kill the Tree Sentinel within a couple of tries. Whilst only doing between 74 and 89 damage every hit, I also stumbled across the materials to upgrade my torch to level 3, but it was about as successful in increasing my damage than microwaving a hamster to bring it back to life. But we're on to fighting Margit, and I don't really know how to edit his fight because it was so long, so I'm just gonna make like a time lapse and hope that it doesn't take too long to show it. And although I did die 6 or 7 times, I'm not going to show them now because there will be a lot of deaths later in the video. You need to take my word for this. But hey, we got our first major boss kill of the run. It's all downhill from here. So I decided to have a little jog through a castle. I then killed Patches and tricked a ball into jumping off of a cliff a few times, which gave me a bunch of runes. I'm not entirely sure how that works, but taking a secret path which took me to Liurnia, and I'm here specifically just to get the Smithing Stone's bell bearing, just so I can upgrade this goddamn useless toothpick. and I navigated my way through the cave until I came to Crystallion and swiftly packed him up. After packing him up, I upgraded my torch to level 8, which allowed me to actually deal some damage in the Godrick fight. And it was in this fight that I discovered that I could not punish a poise break. So when they get poise broken, the only thing I can do is slap them with the goddamn wooden stick. And after bullying what I imagine the average tier 3 Pokemon sub looks like, I then met up with the best blacksmith in all of Elden Ring, Smithing Master E.G., and I will not stand for any slander of this beautiful 20-foot tall giant. After speaking to him, I was then able to purchase the Korean Filigreed Crest, which lowers the amount of FP that your skills take to use. Now, you may have noticed that the torch does not in fact have a skill, which makes this completely f***ing useless. I'm sure that not all of the talismans will be useless, right? Right? I then went to the Weeping Peninsula to collect some sacred tears since I kept getting absolutely destroyed. And after speaking to White Mask Vare, who is the world professional Japanese speaker, he gave me 3 bloody fingers. I also collected the key to get into Hogwarts, which wasn't really that much of an issue since this dragon's about as good as the US military is at not accidentally releasing the Epstein files. I then decided it was finally time to get some vengeance on the Grafted Scion, so I made my way over to his fight and thoroughly whooped his ass. Deciding to put that key I stole to good use, I snuck into the Forbidden Forest and made my way somehow into Hogwarts. And sprinting through Hogwarts, as a bunch of Dementors try and suck the soul out of me, I stumbled across the door of Fluffy, but sadly I don't have a musical instrument to put Fluffy to sleep, so we're gonna have to resort to violence. And Fluffy somehow managed to kill me 5 times in a row. But on the 6th attempt, Fluffy really couldn't outrun his fate for much longer. I had to put old Yella down. And once I had defeated the Red Wolf of Radagon, I was then able to collect the Radagon Icon, the second talisman of the video. Another completely useless one. This one shortens the casting of spells, which I don't even use spells, I use a stick. Moving forward, I bonked the cook outside of Rennala's boss chamber, and then moved on to Rennala, who proceeded to kill me a ridiculously large amount of times, not because she was a difficult boss, but because beating her up with a wooden stick when she keeps spamming spells is pretty much fucking impossible to do. Like, I think she killed me at least 12 times and my game crashed like twice because the fights were just so long. But on the final attempt, I finally managed to beat up all 3 children, which, as you all know, is one of my favourite things to do in the world, and spent 15 minutes dodging all of her spirit ashes just to get like 2 hits in and then her run away again. But it's okay because she's finally dead. And after savouring the moment, I remembered that I needed to get the other side of the Dectus medallion, but hey, at least I don't need to get both this time like the previous 3 videos. I also didn't realise how goofy the animation of lifting the Dectus medallion looks when it's sped up. So I'm going to be doing this in all of my videos from now on, with sound effects. Now that I'm in Lendale, that means I can finally upgrade my weapon again, so I go and get the Smithing Stone Miner's Bell Bearing 2, which allows me to get this useless stick to level 14. Something that I have neglected to tell you up until this point in the video is that I am actually quite underleveled. I'm supposed to be about level 80, 90-ish to take on Lendale. I'm level 40, and my only weapon is a stick, and I can't use talismans. So, using the 3 bloody fingers that Vare gave me earlier, I invade and then die in 3 other players' worlds. Vare then tells me to go dip a cloth in blood. Freak. And then after his Emperor Palpatine looking ass uses the Force on my finger, I gain the ability to go to Mohgwyn's palace. And even though he says I should probably wait until later to go, I remembered that he called me maidenless earlier, so fuck him. After waking up in the Shadow Realm, I proceeded to find and then bully a chicken into committing forever sleep 500 times, which got me to level 71. And this is technically still underleveled, especially since I have nothing but a stick, but I really cannot be arsed bullying this chicken anymore at this point in time. It takes too long, man. But that's okay, because you know what's next? The first death montage of the video. And if that wasn't enough to satisfy your hunger for pain and suffering, then just trust me, wait about 1 minute and 20 seconds and you'll see the beginning of my sadness. But now that I've killed the Draconic Tree Sentinel and lost 100 aura points since he hit me when he was dead, I listened to some more elevator music and roamed the halls of the royal capital until I found my way to the sewers. I finally get to equip my first piece of armour in the entire run, which happens to be the blood-soaked mask and gloves. And to be completely honest, if not wearing an armor set was an option, I don't think it would matter, because they do absolutely nothing at all. I then wandered aimlessly around the sewers until I came to the single best skip in the entire game. That saves me about 20 minutes of pure headaches. It also gives me the opportunity to listen to some more elevator music. And once I got to the bottom, I knew that I was in for the fight of my life, because I was against Mohg, the Omen. Psych. Did you actually believe that I would struggle against this guy? I've killed this guy 100 times. You should watch that video, by the way. Shortly after, I decided to kill Godfrey, the first Elden Lord. And I don't know if his spirit can hold a grudge or something. Not to get into spoilers, but he's coming back. In contrast to how easy I have been finding killing all the bosses in Lendale, I was in for a surprise when I got to Margit. Would you like to know what you just witnessed? You just witnessed 1.5 hours of a person's life who has defeated the same boss at least 20 times. Now, I don't know if it was because I was only using a torch, maybe I didn't eat my Weetabix or something, maybe I forgot to do my morning cocaine, but what I do know is that I definitely started raging about 30 deaths in. But after having a crash out that makes a Taylor Swift fan look like a reasonable person, I decided it was time to unlock the ending that Donald Trump wanted. So, I did some sick parkour, but I ended up falling, which lost me 1,000 aura points. I've never watched this cutscene sped up before, but the only way I can describe it being sped up is kind of gay. I don't know how to elaborate on that, but that's kind of what it looks like. And the cutscene must have been gay because the second after, Melina spawns and tells me we're breaking up. But that's fine, Donald Trump prefers people who are called Bill Clinton anyway. A moment later, Donald Trump was on his way to find Bill Clinton. So we watched another goofy cutscene. And once we were in the Mountaintops of the Giants, I found the Smithing Stone Miner's Bell Bearing 3, which allowed me to level up my weapon to level 18, which is way too old for Donald Trump. Now that my weapon is old enough to get a job, I put it to work. Which didn't really matter, because I got absolutely obliterated by General Nile and his 2 little gooners. After receiving backshots from General Nile, I decided I was a bit too underleveled to fight him, so I bullied the giant chicken a bit more, which got me to level 120. Oh well, 119, but I couldn't really be bothered getting that last level. And after getting dicked down again by General O'Neill 10 times in a row, I managed to defeat his 2 tier 3 subs and was then on to fighting him. And it is a miracle that at this point in time I had taken no damage from his 2 tier 3 subs. This fight took 13 whole minutes. You're watching it at 85x speed because 2 hits from this dude, or even 1 hit from this dude, usually kills me. I even cut out the first like 3 or 4 minutes of me killing the Spirit Ashes because that was like ridiculously long too. Including the Spirit Ashes, this whole fight took about 18 minutes, which I have never spent that long fighting a single enemy before to my knowledge. But the record would be broken pretty soon anyway. And the reason that it took me so long to defeat the Spirit Ashes is because I cannot use the Bewitching branch. So before you type that stupid ass comment, it's not a part of the build. So I have to fight 3 people at once, like I'm Eddie Hall. Sorry if the time lapse was completely unwatchable, but I have no idea how to edit that into a watchable video. The fight takes too long. With that out of the way, I then got the Erdtree Secret Crest Medallion left and right side, but I lost the footage for the left side because it got corrupted. I also collected the 3rd talisman of the run, the Faithful Canvas Talisman, another completely useless talisman. Now that I'm in the consecrated snowfield, I can finally finish my stupid build, starting by besting a defenseless trumpet boy in hand-to-hand combat, which gave me the blood-soaked tabard. But for the final item that we need to complete our build, we're gonna need to use a Spirit Ash, because apparently that's the only way to collect it. The Fanged Imp Ashes to be specific, which you can purchase from a merchant that's hiding just under Hogwarts. To get the final talisman, we're gonna need to summon the imps against this other actual imp, and once the imps attack it, you can just kill it normally, and then I proceed to never use the imps ever again. Allowing me to pick up the Graven Mass Talisman, which raises the potency of sorceries by 8%. So another completely useless one. But with that, we do complete our build. And what a beautiful build it is, wouldn't you agree? Next up, we're fighting the Fire Giant, and he actually wasn't too bad. I only died 9 times to him. But with that out the way, I took in the beautiful scene and burned the goddamn tree to the ground. Donald J. Trump loves mass deforestation, almost as much as I love beating up children, the homeless, and the elderly. After Donald Trump wakes up from his nap, he finds himself in Venezuela somehow. And if you're a fan of the channel, then you know what's coming up next. Even I was fearing this. The Godskin twins. With nothing but a torch, but maybe it won't be so bad. And after all that, I'm not even fucking done. I didn't kill them. I wasn't even close. I think the lowest I got him was like 70% of his max health. So I think we can both agree I need to be a higher level and do more damage. And I felt like it was a good time to get my weapon to max level. Start the montage. I also decided to get some easy runes by killing Mohg, so I collected the Purifying Crystal tier, and because the fight took too long again, 20x speed. Now I should be easily capable of destroying the Godskin twin. Well, I am capable of it, maybe not easily, but I eventually did get one lucky run. I even had 2 flasks of Crimson Tears to spare at the end. By the way, because of how horribly designed the Godskin twin fight is, it took about 6 hours of my life to defeat that thing. 6 hours! I died like 110 times. And yeah, maybe not using sleeping pots and not being able to use a normal weapon had something to do with it, but any boss shouldn't take that long. This fight was so long that I can't even show you the sped up version because it was about 35 minutes long. You know what, I can't be asked ranting about this fight anymore, I just want it out of my life. So now we're on to Malekith, which surprisingly actually didn't go too bad. I only died like 4 times. I would also like to point out that canonically, Donald Trump just defeated Malekith, the incarnation of death, without technically getting hit, since if death touched you, you just immediately die. I mean, I received damage, but from like everyone else's perspective in the Elden Ring universe, Donald Trump just went into a fight against Malekith and came out unscathed, using nothing but a torch. Just wanted to put that out there. And after collecting the Rune of Death, Donald Trump returned to his favorite place in the entire world.
I knew you'd come.
And came Donald Trump did. And after defeating the last person between Donald Trump and his beloved, he was finally reunited with Bill Clinton. Do you want to know why I call him Bill Clinton? Well, there's 2 reasons. Number 1,
Long and hard.
and number 2, it's because this old dude keeps fucking Donald Trump. Like, I was not expecting Godfrey to take this much time. He took the second most amount of time out of any boss in the game, behind the Godskin twins. He took 3 hours. Which, just to put it into perspective for the Godskin fight, that took 6 hours. Probably didn't help that I refused to bully the giant turkey anymore because I was only level 120. But now that we finally managed to kill Bubba Clinton, we're on to the final hurdle. I actually managed to kill Radagon's second try, but it wasn't that easy because he just kept spamming ki blasts like he's a low health noob in Dragon Ball Xenoverse. Maybe I found it so easy because he's ginger or something, but I managed to stance break him 3 separate times, yet again only using nothing but a wooden stick. But on the 3rd stance break I was finally able to vanquish him, putting the ginger down for good. But right now, we have to defeat the Cosmic Celestial Slug. Including Radagon, this boss fight took the 2nd longest in the entire game, spanning about just under 25 minutes, but Radagon was only like 4 of those minutes. I actually killed him pretty quickly. Must have been all my pent up anger at the fact God was a ginger. And the reason that the Elden Beast took so long is because whenever I got like a 3-hit combo on him, he'd immediately run away. I think I only got like 2 stance breaks on him, despite him having like the second largest health bar in the game. But I did eventually manage to take him down. But our journey isn't over yet. Donald Trump still has to watch the world burn, though he goes Super Saiyan and bombs Venezuela. But before you click off the video, I did want to say that it truly meant a lot the amount of support I got on my previous video, and I've made some changes to my editing style so that I can do it quicker, or at least in much less time than I usually would. I also hope you had a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, or whatever religion or non-religious thing you do at this time of year, or last year really. I just hope you're having a good time, and that my video could help with that. It's kind of what I aim to do. Feel free to ask any questions that you might have also in the comments down below. I can't forget to give you the golden star on your forehead. There you go. Better go watch all my other videos if you want to collect the rest. I'm gonna have to also demand that you hit the like, subscribe, and notification bell, or else I will break into your house and replace everything in your fridge with Diet Dr. Pepper. Thank you for watching.